All right, welcome back to the Gentleman Badass podcast. My name's Josh. I've got Mick with me today.
Hello.
And today we've got Austin Barnhart. Austin, I've actually known Austin's dad a lot longer than I've known Austin, but thanks to my wife, thanks to jiu-jitsu, I've gotten to know him a little bit better over the last couple of years. Got a pretty interesting story, pretty interesting job, and he does jiu-jitsu, so we're going to have plenty to talk about. So Austin, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate you guys having me here. This is a lot of fun.
Awesome.
This will be a good time.
Well, we like to start at the beginning. Kind of what it was like for you growing up, where, maybe some pivotal moments, some things that may have, really kind of shaped how you turned out today. So tell us a little bit about that.
So growing up, I was actually born in Washington State, Tacoma, Washington, while my father was in seminary. So my dad's a pastor, grew up in the church my whole life. When I was 2 or 3, we moved back here to Omaha, and that's where I grew up. Grew up here in central Omaha, went to West Side, all the way through that school district. And growing up, I was never a big sports guy. In fact, my nickname in middle school, I tried out for the football team. I was a wide receiver because I was 6'1", 6'2".
In middle school?
In middle school, yeah. And I think I was all of like $160, maybe $150, with stone hands. So I was not a good player, but I swam all through my childhood. Swim team was always a big thing for me. So swim team during the summer, and then I did swim team during the winter as well on a club team here in Omaha. And that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, but I had this nasty propensity that if I would overexert myself, I would get sick, and I'd be out for 1 or 2 weeks. So
like flu, you mean, or
just
something
so
along those
run
lines?
down? Horrible cold, flu, cough. I couldn't stand up, couldn't do a whole lot.
What? Did I ever figure out what it was?
No, not really. Weirdly enough, in second grade, I had this disease called HSP, which is this really weird, rare disease. And for a month, it was where I had hives, I was swollen, and I couldn't walk. And we went to the doctors, and nobody could figure it out.
Some autoimmune thing?
It was an autoimmune disease. Finally, when we were at the pediatrician, there was a resident or a newly out of residency doctor, and she said, "Oh, I recognize this from one of my textbooks. This is it's called Henoch-Schönlein purpura." And so they treated it with steroids and pumped me full of steroids, and I ate. But I was out of school for about a month. And it never came up again. But yeah, every time I overexerted myself, whether it was sports or anything like that, and we kind of chalked it up to I grew very, very quickly. And I was horribly uncoordinated. So basketball was out of the question. I tried wrestling when I was in middle school. That didn't go well because I was 6'1", $150.
Yeah.
So swimming was my jam. That's what I did. So I swam and that went really, really well. And then I got into high school, and I was a swimmer in high school. Really enjoyed it, but I kind of got bit by the bug of I can make a little bit of money. I've always been a bit of a loner, and you'll see this trend kind of carry through. So being a bit of a loner, I started a paper route. I apologize about that. One of the guy who had the paper route at the time said, "Hey, I'm giving this up, and anybody would like it, please come join us." So this was a 57 paper route that our house was on, and I was 14. So I got a bike, or had a bike, and a bag, and I started delivering papers. Nice. Like, this is pretty cool. I was an independent contractor because that's how the paper did it. And so I learned what a 1099 was. I learned how to get paid. I learned that I need to pay taxes, and my dad, of course, helped me with all of this stuff. And I said, this is kind of neat. This paper route takes me, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes after school. I could probably grow this into something kind of neat. So I went from 57 papers to, I started delivering about 150, 200 after school. Then I started talking to the guy who delivered my papers to me. He was a bundle hauler, also an independent contractor. And he said, yeah, I just go drop the papers off to the paper boys. I don't have to go driveway to driveway. I was like, oh, so instead of dropping off at 200 places, you drop it off at
one place, 5 places.
Yeah, 5, 10. Yeah. So I was like, that sounds really, really cool. I want to do that. So fortunately, my grandparents lived right next door to us. And my grandfather When I turned 16, he sold me his pickup truck. When I turned 16 for $1.
Nice.
It was the GMC S15. So think old Chevy S10, single cab, long box, 2-wheel drive. About the unsexiest truck you can get. But being a 16-year-old in high school, I put rims on it.
Nice.
I tinted the windows. I took the topper off, put a really cool tonneau cover on it, and thought I was the crud.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was the coolest guy out there. But I could go get a bundle haul then. So I contacted the paper and they said, yeah, you can be a bundle hauler for us. Absolutely. We got a couple neighborhoods just down the road. So I started delivering to 5 or 10 different paper boys. And that was about 5,000 to 6,000 papers a day that I drop off to them. Then I kept my paper routes.
Wow.
About my junior year, I said, "Oh my God, I could take this even further if I get a different truck. I want a different truck." So my dad helped me. I got a Dodge Ram, a big Dodge Ram with 4x4, lifted a little bit. He said, "Okay, now you need to pay for it. So how are you going to do that?" I said, "Well, I'm going to take on more papers." So the papers, I went from 5,000 to 6,000 papers a day to the paper boys, and I jumped that to 15,000 to 17,000 a day.
Wow.
Then I took my paper route from 150 to 200. I took that to 1,000 to 1,100 a day. So thankfully, my grandparents lived next door, and I would contract them to fold the papers for me while I went out and dropped off to the paper boys, come back, pick up all the papers that they folded, then go throw those driveway to driveway. I engineered my schedule senior year to where I got out of school at 12:30 because the papers dropped off at 1. So they had to be out by 5. 1 to 5 o'clock, I'd work every single day, weekdays. And then on the weekends, I had to, and this is probably what, being a pastor's kid, there was a lot of church. And I wasn't in much trouble, but I had to get up on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 2 a.m. Every single, no holidays. And I worked that every weekend. And so I did that from age 15 until I was 20.
Wow.
And that paid for college. That kept me out of trouble.
You didn't just blow all your money?
Of course I did.
Just save some of it. Yeah.
Some of it. But yeah, I paid for college that way. I paid for my truck. And then I was fortunate enough that I met Marie, my wife, freshman or sophomore year. I think it was freshman year of high school.
Okay.
And we started dating.
She liked that truck.
Well, yeah, it was.
She liked that a boyfriend had money.
Boyfriend had money. Boyfriend had a truck,
a job.
Or I was just the weird kid who was loud.
Yeah.
We met on a band trip going down. It was a bus trip down to Lincoln. And I said, I want to sit next to the prettiest girl on the bus.
Then you said, here, fold these newspapers while we chat.
Exactly. Do this. So that helped me, learn how to work, how to be alone, how to deal with stuff when nobody else is around you. There are really, I tell my kids this now, like if we're out and late for us on a Friday night, because with 4 kids, 15 to 8, late for us is like maybe 9, 10 o'clock. And if the kids will be like, oh my gosh, people are driving nuts. And if it's more than normal, they'll be like, oh, it could be a full moon. They're like, what are you talking about, Dad? I'm like, no, believe me.
Yeah.
Stuff gets weird when it's a full moon. But I remember one time when I was delivering papers, it was 3 or 4 in the morning, and a lightning bolt hit about 20 feet away from me.
Wow.
And I'm a teenage kid, all by myself, and I got a job to do. It scared the crud out of me because I was outside the truck unloading, and I dropped to the ground. I said, okay, you have to get up. You have to continue doing this. You can't call anybody.
Yeah.
There's not, go.
Yeah.
Just go.
I think that's one of the bummers about newspapers kind of falling out of vogue is that source of income for kids is kind of gone. Because that was my first job.
Really?
A paper route, yeah.
No kidding.
I had a paper route probably 11, 12, 13 years old.
Okay.
And I was in a small town, 350 people. And so in the winter, my dad actually just let me drive the car. So I was driving the car all by myself when I was 13 years old delivering papers.
Nice.
But you know who else started as a newspaper delivery boy? Warren Buffett.
Really?
Yeah, he actually did something pretty similar to you where he had like 3 different paper routes because he was delivering to one apartment complex and he realized, oh, I'm already making a trip here. I might as well deliver more paper. So same amount of work, triple the money. Like that's how he started. So
Interesting.
yeah.
So yeah,
Did you have to do the little paper box things too with where the people buy the paper out of the box?
thankfully, no.
See, I did that and you'd be surprised how many people will steal from a kid.
Really?
Yeah, the regular paper was 25 cents. The Sunday paper was $1.25, and people would put in $1.25, and they'd take 5 newspapers and give them to their friends, and
You're not supposed to do that?
No,
I never did that. Yeah. I never did that.
because I don't remember I don't remember how that was. I mean, I remember I kept the money out of the paper machine, but we didn't have to buy them or anything. But nonetheless, yeah, lots of people stole from me. It was really strange.
Mine was milk route. That's how now I'm really aging myself.
Like milk jugs?
In Ireland, they used to deliver milk to your doorstep every morning.
Okay.
Balls of milk. So I'd get up at 3 a.m. and go meet Bimbo Ward, was the milkman's name. I'd meet him. We'd go to the dairy and pick up load up crates of milk and then come back to our neighborhoods and deliver bottles of milk. So when the parents would wake up in the morning, there'd be fresh bottles of milk outside their door.
So what would you say you guys learned? Clearly there's stuff that stuck with you through that. But what would you say? Because these are very similar experiences. What would you say stuck with you and like has carried on through?
Work equals money.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
kind of. Yeah.
Very fair.
And freedom.
Yeah, and I was also the type of person where, I wasn't just doing the paper route. I've always had kind of an entrepreneurial spirit, and like, every year or every summer we'd go to grandma's house and grandma would always buy us a toy, right? She'd take us to Walmart or Kmart and we'd get to pick out a toy. Well, I realized, hey, if I buy beads, I can make necklaces and I can sell those necklaces. So I used my toy money to buy these, remember those really small plastic beads that used to be popular?
Yep.
I would make necklaces out of those and I'd sell them on my street corner. So yeah, for me, it was just,
freaking awesome.
A little bit of work, you can actually have money in your pocket.
Necklace pusher. Hey, man.
Got these. I used to catch bullfrogs at the pond and sell bullfrogs, or try to sell bullfrogs. I never actually sold any, but I thought I was going to be a bullfrog farmer. Apparently, there's not much demand for bullfrogs.
No, weird. Although you could.
Yeah.
So that paid for my college. I graduated in 2001. And when I graduated, everybody's asked, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And obviously, no senior in high school has it all figured out. And I have different views on college that we can get into later. But I said, I want to be an airline pilot. That's what I want to do. So August of 2001, I started flight school.
UNO or?
At UNO.
Okay. Heck, we might have been there about the same time. I think I was in 02 at UNO for aviation.
You're kidding.
No.
What?
Yeah. I probably had
Mike Larson, Brent Bowen, Scott Vlasic.
Vlasic, I remember that name for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's the dean there now.
Oh, yeah?
Anyway, so jumped into aviation because that's the jam. And same sort of sentiment, work equals money. Mm-hmm. I kind of looked at everything and said, okay, if I'm an airline pilot, I can make a good living doing that. And also flying's a lot of fun. So started flight training in August, and then September 2001 hit. Mm-hmm. And I took a little while off.
Yeah.
Forcibly took a while off, but learned a lot in the classroom. And in college, I tried swimming a little bit, but it wasn't for me. But they had another competition team, and it was flight team, which was a ton of fun. So I had the ability to go compete with a group of guys from UNO, and we would travel the nation, and we do these different flight competitions with other schools. It'd be fun stuff like they draw a line on the runway and say you'd fly a normal pattern, then at 1,000 feet, you pull all the power, and you have to try and land closest to the line on the runway.
Cool.
It could be a navigation competition. It could be an aircraft identification competition. All sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I got to go travel across the nation competing with the flight team.
Wow.
I was nominated to be the captain on the flight team. Then I got to help coach it. Then I got some really cool internship opportunities with Delta and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun, and that was kind of my collegiate competition, is getting out there and learn all this stuff, all while I was delivering papers
So
the entire time.
Why didn't you end up being a pilot then?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. So when I got out of college, it was the furlough lists were a mile long for the airlines. The industry was just in not a good shape. There were pilots out there who couldn't get work, who had many, many, many more hours than I did. In fact, my only opportunity there was to go fly a puddle jumper somewhere in the Caribbean and make $20,000 or $30,000 a year.
Right.
And being gone 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
At that point, I was already married. My wife and I, we got married very, very young for no other reason than we'd already dated for 5 years. So let's get married. This seems like the right idea. Let's do it young. So we got married, and so when we got out, there was no market for it. And so when we got married, papers were getting to be quite a bit. I did it while we were married, but the lady who sold us her tuxedos, he approached me and said, "Hey, you have a bit of an infectious personality. Have you ever thought about selling tuxedos?" I said, "Well, I guess. I've never really done sales." She said, "Well, we've got this new position where we've partnered with David's Bridal, and you get to wear a tuxedo at David's Bridal for 8 hours a day, and you get to talk to the brides." Okay, I can do that. She said, "Yeah, all you got to do is sign them up. Sign them up for their wedding party." So sure enough, they gave me a closet full of tuxedos, and I stood at David's Bridal, and I talked to brides.
Was there good money in it?
No, not at all.
But you look cool.
But you got some sales skills.
I got some sales skills. No, there wasn't good money at all. I asked them for $20 for a coupon. I said, "We can give you a coupon for your wedding party, and we can reserve your spot if you give me $20. Oh, okay, that sounds great. $20. I think I got paid like $11 an hour, and I got to keep the $20. So it was on me to just go out there and hustle.
Yeah.
And that was my first sales job. And then I realized after about a year or two in it, and one of the things about me is I will not give up on anything. In fact, one of my mottos that I try and live by is it's nearly impossible to beat somebody who will not quit. You can't do it. And this, you'll see it later. But I realized I was just working with a store full of women in retail and dealing with women on their most stressful day of one of the more stressful days of their lives. And I'm wearing a tuxedo every day. Like, this isn't a lot of fun. I like cars. Let's go try and sell cars. So I applied to a bunch of different auto dealerships. And that went really well. I applied to 7 and I was hired by 6. It's like, this is great. So I chose to go sell cars out of Volvo.
Okay.
It was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. Did great. I loved cars. That was another passion of mine. Learned how to do that. Did very well. And then I was approached by somebody and said, "Hey, you have some sales ability. How do you feel about selling insurance?" Well, yeah, that sounds phenomenal. What do you do? Well, I play golf all day long and talk to people, and I make a boatload of money. Well, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
That beats beating the pavement all day long. He said, "Well, follow me." Okay, let's do that. So I followed him, and this should have been one of the flags. He said, "Well, I don't have my company right now, but I have a friend who has a company. Why don't you go work for him?" Oh, okay, great. I'm young, recently married, the promise of lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So I sold property and casualty insurance, auto, homeowners, and umbrella insurance, some life insurance, and we didn't make any money at all. Like our family, we were married. We'd been married there for 3 or 4 years. We had just had our first child. And one of the promises I made to Marie was, when we have our first child, you can stay home. That's the way we want to do this. So she got to stay home. And I was pulling in. We had just bought a house. We had 2 cars, all the stuff that comes along with the car dealership. And I think I was making $1,500 to $2,000 a month before taxes. So not enough to pay the mortgage, let alone any other bills.
Right, yeah.
But I stuck with it. I was like, I'm going to do it. And there were a couple months where it was good and we get caught up and then it'd go bad. And finally, out of just the graciousness of their soul, they fired me. They said, hey, you need to go somewhere else because we love your attitude. We love everything, but this isn't working. So I said, okay, I got to do the auto industry.
So was it not working because of the product? Was it not working because of what was it? Like, were you just not good at selling that? Why wasn't it working?
I was lazy.
Okay.
I was extremely lazy. In my mind, there are two types of salespeople in the world. There are those who have just God-given talent, can sell anything, and those who are grinders. Those who will work a process, do what it takes, and continue into perpetuity whatever needs to be done. I was the former. I was very, very talented. I can talk to anybody. I can sell anything that's in front of me. But I was lazy. I didn't work the process. I didn't call anybody. I just waited for people to come to me. And
Low-hanging fruit.
yeah, absolutely. And once I knocked all those down, I was like, well, fudge. There's nothing else really to do. And I just tried to live off of that.
Yeah.
And it didn't go well.
Okay.
So
Do you think maybe that was because you didn't really care about the product?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I didn't care about the product, and I didn't. This is all leading to today. Actually, it is learning about myself that hey, I do need to work. I'm not anybody special. I need to put in the effort in order to get to where I'm at. Even though I have this talent, it takes a lot of work in order to get to where I want to go, and I have to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of trials. There's a lot of discipline that goes along with it. And I was undisciplined, physically, mentally, professionally, all of it.
How did you fix that?
It's been a long road. It's been a really, really long road.
Because this sounds like, this is a problem of my own. I've got the same problem. I imagine most of our listeners probably have dealt with this or are actually dealing with this process currently. So how did you go about fixing it?
So thankfully, I had some guidance. I met some guys, some professional mentors who helped me along the way. So that led me into my next role, which was I'm going to go, I want to get back into the auto industry because I at least made enough money that I could support my family. But I really want to get into that finance role. That seems to be where all the cool guys and girls are. They wear the fancy clothes. They'll buy lunch. They get to sit in an office. Like that really seems neat. So I had the ability to partner with the company that I'm with now. I interviewed with them because through some contacts that I met with insurance, they set me up with these folks. I said, yeah, go interview with them. They hire finance managers for dealerships. So I met with them and I found out that the company that I currently work for, they place, train, and consult dealerships across the nation. So when I interviewed with them, it wasn't just one interview and they said, hey, great, go ahead, we're going to stick you in. They put me through 5 interviews. I was like, what? What's going? This isn't right. I'm me. You're supposed to want me.
Yeah.
But they put me through 5 interviews and finally they said, okay, you're our guy. We're going to put you in a store. So they put me in a Chevy Subaru store down in Bellevue, which was great. That store at that time did about 150 cars a month. And I was one of 3 in the finance department. So I was learning. I was new. I started December 1st. And in the first week, one of the other guys, one of the 3, quit. He said, hey, it's not for me. I don't want to do this. Okay, no problem. So it's me and the guy who's leading the department. And we're hanging in there. We're doing good. It's December. I'm learning what's going on, and there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of documents that need to happen, and the sales skills I need to learn. And then in January, they said, hey, we're going to send you to school so you can learn how to do all this stuff. So I went to school for a week down in Dallas, came back, and the director, the guy who runs the department, looked at me and said, hey, you always wanted to be the director, didn't you? Yes, sir. Absolutely, I do. Cool. Today's your day because today's my last.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Great. So at this point, our house is at 170th and Fort. I'm working in Bellevue, and they have meetings that start at 8 a.m. The finance department needs to ready all of the car deals and be ready for all the reports for the meeting, which started at 8. So I had to get there at 7, which means I had to leave my house at 6:30. With nobody else in the department, that meant that I had to touch every customer that bought a car now between that store. So I went to 6 days a week working bell to bell. So I'd get there at 7 and I'd work until about 10 o'clock, sometimes 11, midnight,
Yeah.
6 days a week.
It's a grind.
I didn't have a choice because I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
This was what I had to do to support my family. We sold both our cars because we had to get caught up on everything. And thankfully, that dealership had a demo program where they provided us a car. So that was my transportation to get back and forth to the dealership. Marie would walk to Target or Walmart.
Wow.
With the kids. At that point, we had 2. And that was a little bit of hard learned discipline. Like I had to learn how to do this, and I had to fight through it.
Yeah.
Even though it was awful. Like a lot of people were like, "Hey, dude, you I don't know why you're doing this. You're not making much." I said, "Yeah, but they gave me a job.
Yeah.
They value me, and I get to do this. Yeah, it's hard. I sold well. I did all the stuff I was supposed to do. We went through several people trying to get them trained on. Those didn't stick. And then finally, the Volvo store contacted me again and said, "Hey, we noticed you run really, really good sales numbers. Would you come out and be our finance manager?" Well, yeah, you're 5 minutes from my house, and I know all you guys, and you're not open until 8 or 9 o'clock every night.
Yeah.
That sounds great. And you're going to pay me? Oh, absolutely, I'm going to do that. So I went out there, and I brought the company that hired me along with me.
So are you a subcontractor at this point?
So at this point, I work for the dealership.
Okay.
I work for the dealerships, but the company that does the consulting, they worked with that dealership in Bellevue.
Gotcha.
And then I brought them in to the Volvo store. And so we formed that relationship, and we grew, and I had the ability to kind of learn all of the roles inside of a dealership. I got to sit in every chair and kind of learn what each one does, learn how to facilitate those. And my ultimate goal was to put my name on the building. That's really what I wanted. It wasn't going to happen there. So I was fortunate enough that the company that hired me on originally in Bellevue, excuse me, not the dealership, but the company that interviewed me as a consulting firm, they said, "Hey, how about you come work for us as a consultant?" I said, "Yeah, that sounds really great." And they said, and I knew this, but the interview had been for the past 5 years. How'd you perform? What'd you do during
they're
stress?
watching you, yeah.
How'd you grow? What was your discipline? Could you do everything? Did you exceed? Did you grow people? Did you grow the departments? I could answer yes to all of those. And one of the big things, though, that they said before I got hired, and this was about 6 months, is they said, "You need to eliminate any buts behind your name." I said, "Okay. What does that mean?" They said, everybody can say Austin is great, but his paperwork's not that good. He doesn't communicate well with the accountant. Whatever that is, there can't be any buts. Those all have to be gone. So I had to go on a bit of a campaign. I also had to very seriously look myself in the mirror and go, okay, what are my buts? How do I deal with those? And then be open to people coming in and say, "Hey, Austin, you did this. Why?" Answer for it. Tell me why you did that. Okay. Yeah, I'll fix it. I'll do it and be okay with that. So I did that. I eliminated all my buts, and I found and I trained my replacement, which was one of our tenets. You need to find and train your replacement before you can move anywhere. So I did all that, and then I was brought on, and they said, "Hey, we want you to come work for us, but just so you know, most of our reps have to move." I said, "Nope, no dice. We will not move. Not at all. We are Omaha people. This is where we stay. My wife is here. My kids are here. Grandparents. We won't go anywhere." I said, "Okay, no problem. You're going to go work in a program called our specialist program, where you're going to go. You're going to go to a dealership for 10 days on, and you're going to have 4 days off. That's going to be any dealership somewhere in the country. And of those 4 days, 2 of those days are travel days."
On your off days?
On my off days.
Wow.
I said, "Okay, ain't no hill for a climber. Let's figure it out." So they sent me to North Carolina, 10 days on, 4 days off. They sent me to small town Nebraska, 10 days on, 4 days off. They sent me to right outside of New York in New Jersey. And that was extremely eye-opening. I went from a store that sold about 60 to 70 cars a month to a store that sold 900 cars a month. This is a supremely out-of-shape Nebraska kid who's only ever known Nebraska in northern Jersey, right outside of New York. Heavy Italian.
Oh, yeah.
Almost mafia-esque environment. And I walk in there. Hey, guys.
Sales, no less.
Sales,
no
yeah.
less, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking big personalities, guys who want to just crush you with everything they have and then prove to you that you're worthless. Hey, guys, I'm Austin. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
Who the heck are you, son?
Yeah.
In fact, one of the finance directors turned around, and I'll keep it PG. He said, I don't know what the F you're here to teach me, mother effer, but you better sit your A right down there till I feel ready to talk to you, or you can get the F out of here, because I don't have anything to learn from you, son. Now sit there and shut the F up.
I'm the hick here to help you guys.
Hey, everybody! You want to learn how to sell stuff? So I got a dose of figure it the flip out.
Yeah.
Real quick. And 10 days on, 4 days off. Being alone in a hotel room, thousands of miles away from your family, with guys who want to prove that they're better than you and don't want to spend any time with you. You do that for 6 months, you kind of start to question, what am I doing? Like I'm staying at not great hotels. I mean, they're okay. They're safe, but I'm not living in the lap of luxury.
Yeah.
It's day 9, day 8. You're like, I still got to go to and help these people who don't want to hear me. 2 more days, and then I got to fight through airports. Just do it. So that really led to that saying of, it is darn near impossible to beat somebody who will not quit. I think that's attributed to Babe Ruth, is that saying. So I try and embody that. No matter what it is, don't quit. And I take a little bit of, this is really cynical to say, but I take a little bit of pleasure in seeing when people buckle.
Sure.
Like, how far can you go? Can I go further? And when you do buckle, I want to be there to help you, pick you up. But let's just see when everything breaks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fighter mentality right there. Because, I mean, there's always a tipping point in a fight where you're like, he's going down. Or I'm going over. Like, it's happening right now.
Absolutely.
And there's something beautifully powerful about when you know, like, that's it. I broke him. Or
yes. It feels so good.
On the other end, too, I think when you've reached a certain level where you just know, like, I made it past where most people quit. And you watch those people coming up and they think they know, and they don't know. Right? They don't know. And there's something special on the other side. And, I think of this through jiu-jitsu, but I imagine, it's like this in any type of profession, especially with really, really high performers, is you might think you know what it takes to get that level. And you probably have it in you to get to the next level, but you don't know what it's going to take. So
I love every bit of it. And so one of the tenets of our company, and we have definitions of our job roles, but on the very end of my job role, it says to be a mentor to as many people as possible. And I take that so seriously because I want to help people grow and guide. And I'm working with a young man right now who I had the ability to promote through retail, meaning help him get through the finance department and work his way up to where he was offered a position to, in essence, run the store. And he chose here earlier this year to come join our company. And we were very honest with him. Hey, this is hard. There's a lot that goes on. It seems like this, when in reality it is this. And now he's experiencing this. And he's going, oh my God. And it's not an I told you so, because that wouldn't do anybody any good. It is, hey, dude, let me help you through it. I've been there and I have done it. Let's talk about it. How do you get through it?
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you see if as a mentor and somebody who's been mentoring people for quite a while, what are some of the, if you were to pick maybe top 3 or top 1 problems that people have that they need to overcome, and then how do you help them fix those problems?
So the number one thing, and this is all sales, and I feel like it has to do with fighting and jiu-jitsu, but I don't know. You guys are the experts. It's the 6 inches between your ears. That's the number one. If that is not right, it doesn't matter if you have the skills, if you have the strength, if you have whatever. If that is not right, you can't do it. So I work a lot with young men and young women who are new to the finance role. And my job is, as a consultant now, is to go into a dealership and help them with process, help them with personnel, help them with pay plans, help them with training, recruitment, all of that stuff. But I get to help young men and women grow their careers. In fact, we go to colleges and we get to bring them in to the dealership. And that's a whole nother sales job of how do you convince somebody who spent X amount of dollars on a college education to come work at a car store. But it's that mindset. One is, do they want to be there? So helping them through that, helping them create a picture of what is it that they want down the road. Are their goals clear? Do they understand what it is they're striving towards? Because if you're getting out of bed every day with no clear definition of what it is you want to do, why are you getting out of bed? There's nothing really to push for. So I need to help them craft that vision of what it is they want to do. And then sales and even fighting is such a mental game. Meaning, if I lose one match and I have a match right after it, I can't dwell on what just happened. It's the exact same in sales. If I have a bad interaction with a customer and then I have a customer right after it, I can't dwell on what happened. I can't go, oh gosh, that didn't go right. Or I said this and they did this, or they got mad at me. Wipe it out. Get ready. So getting their mindset right and understanding that people buy off of emotion, not that customer's emotion, but they buy off of their emotion. People buy off of excitement. So how do you build that? That comes from inside. That comes from understanding what it is you're going to present. Do you have the value? Do you understand how to do it? So really that's step number one. Get your mind space right.
Are there any questions that you ask or any exercises you put people through to help them get there, to help fix that problem?
Part of my role is almost therapist. So I'll sit down and I'll ask them, what's going on? Where you been? And not in a derogatory, oh my gosh, you've been, but what have you been going through? And one of the things in my career I found is people will just kind of throw up on me. They'll be like, well, I've been doing this.
Yeah.
And my job is to sit there and listen. Oh my gosh, really? How'd that make you feel? Where'd you go? Why'd you do that? Well, I didn't like the way this happened. And my job is to be a mentor. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to guide. I've been through, and I believe I was put through it so that I could help others. I've been through some really gnarly crud. Inside a dealership, inside a personal. I've dealt with money issues. I've dealt with personal issues. I've dealt with them all. I'm not saying there's stuff that I haven't dealt with, because certainly there isn't, but I want to help them go through it. I want to be a listening ear. I want to be that guy who they can go to regardless of what goes on in a dealership. In any workplace, but especially a high-performing sales environment where it's a little bit alpha. Like, look at me.
Sure.
I'm the man. There's not a whole lot of, there's definitely camaraderie, but there's not a whole lot of empathy there. Like, oh yeah, sorry, you didn't get the sale. Looks like I got mine though.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck, guys. I want to be that ear, and I want to help them grow. So once we figure out what's going on, how to guide their vision, we'll help them grow from there. And one of the tools that I use, have you guys ever heard of the leadership framework?
Only through you, but yes.
Only through me. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Did we talk about?
We may have. I am, obviously as a coach, I am always trying to steal whatever can make me a better leader, a better coach, especially.
Okay.
Because I think you can be a leader and not give it back to anyone.
Absolutely, you can.
You can certainly do that. But how can I put it across? So I'm constantly. I mean, when we had Charlie on the podcast, I told Charlie I was looking for like what's the best coaching book I could read. Like what? Like there's got to be like a pinnacle book. While I was in Mexico with a drink in my hand, I thought 12-step program, AA. I mean, and so I went and got a copy of 12 steps, and I was like, wow, that's just what a sales book. Like
That's
to be able
awesome.
to take broken people. So whatever it comes from, I'm always reading up on stuff and just trying to
I love it.
be better.
So we took this philosophy, the leadership framework. It came from Harvard Business School, and this is basically how do you look at a problem, whether that's a dealership, a factory, or even just an organization, and help it run. And this is a 9-step framework that you have to go through, and a lot of these you can do with young men and women to help them grow, all the way up to how do you grow an organization, a big dealer group, or just a business. And number one is you have to have goals. So you have to have a clear picture of where it is you're going. And the bigger the organization, everybody needs to know them. So that gets into how do you disperse your goals? How does everybody know what they are? Do you talk about them often enough? But on an individual level, what are your goals? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to grow? What does your future look like? Where are you going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And do you embody who it is that you believe you are? I think of a book, Atomic Habits, where he says, my goal isn't to bike 100 miles or 500 miles in a summer. My goal is to be a biker. And what does that mean? It means that I embody biking. I put all my effort into this, and it doesn't matter how far I bike or what I do. I am a biker. So I take a lot of that into jiu-jitsu. I take a lot of that into being a mentor. I don't want to mentor X number of people. I want to help anybody grow.
I just remembered where I heard the leadership principles from. Sir Alex Ferguson is probably one of the greatest soccer managers in the world. Managed Manchester United, a team that I support since I was a kid for years. He got invited to Harvard to speak on his management style.
Oh, interesting.
Without knowing what Harvard Business School's principle of management is. So he's up there talking about all his years as a leader of, probably at the time anyway, certainly the most successful club in the world. And the Harvard people are like, yep, check it, check it, check it, check it. Unbeknownst to him, he was actually extolling their
That's
leadership
freaking awesome.
principles. So he's actually been coming back to Harvard and taught a course there one year. And it was that you find that successful people, there's some kind of inalienable traits that they all seem to possess. Harvard were just smart enough to write the blueprint
Yes.
down. But if you want to be successful, there's certain things that you do and that you don't do and you avoid. And that's where I remembered.
Wow, that is
heard
so
about
cool.
it. So
That is so
this
cool.
is the way my brain operates. Like, how did I hear about the Harvard thing?
That's freaking
Sir Alex
awesome.
Ferguson. Yeah.
Okay.
In his book, Winning. That's where it was.
Okay.
I'll have to read that. That is so awesome. So it goes goals and it goes resources. Who do you have? Do you have the right stuff, whether it's material, people? And then the one that I really ascribe to, and I find this in a lot of dealerships, step 3, and there's 9 steps, I won't go through all of them, but step 3 is ethos. And Ethos Group is my company, but ethos in Greek means trust. And ethos in the definition of the leadership framework to me is culture. And this is a really hard thing to build inside a dealership, on a team, anywhere. And I want you to speak to this, but how do you build culture? But I know when I walk into the store, you can feel it. I'm sure you can do the same when you walk into it. You can feel if that team is gelled and where they're going to go and what they're going to do. And then how do you build that culture? It starts with trust. It starts with people understanding what it is they need to do and how they go about it. But if we can do those things, have the right goals, have all the resources, and then build the culture, there's 6 more steps after it. But having the right culture, we become darn near unstoppable. So how do you build culture on your team?
To me, it starts from the top.
Okay.
It's got to be leadership from the front, holding myself accountable, and for me, displaying a humility and a gratefulness about what I've built. Like, I still don't understand it sometimes.
Sure.
You know, my dad, when he was alive, used to come here all the time, and he would sit at the front desk. And one night, we're at home and having a couple of drinks, and my dad was most Irish men were very kind of stoic, like, you know, like the word, like, I love you, son, that never was going to happen. But we'd had a couple of drinks, and he's like, you know, he goes, it amazes me what you've built over here, the gym. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he goes, no, really. He goes, it's kind of the American dream. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I come over, a penniless Irish guy, you know, whatever. And he goes, no, not that. He goes, but like, you have millionaires and thugs all training in the same building. And he goes, and you don't know who the fuck is who until they get in their car to leave, and you're like, oh, that guy's a millionaire. But he goes, once they're in here, he goes, nobody cares, and I realized that was the thing that I was probably always trying to create, is this welcoming environment where everybody could be whoever, and it's a, you know, who is it that calls it a tribe of mentors? Tim Ferriss, yeah. And, you know, I was trying to create that long before probably he coined the phrase, but it's a great way to put it. But that moment with my dad, I kind of realized, like, yeah, actually, that's more important than the money and everything else. Like, that's what I built. So I think that there's certain things that I hope I've displayed, and then the people that are around me display, that we continue to create, or at least keep that going. I think we can still make it better, but everybody's welcome, and you know, and the reality is, I mean, you've been here long enough now that you've seen half a dozen people that started when you started quit, because it's not for everybody. This place is for everybody, but the discipline of having to train, the suffering and all that's not for everybody. But you walk in the door, you're equal.
So that, you put it very eloquently into words there. I have espoused that exact same thing about here, but I didn't realize that I was doing it. So you've done a masterful job of building it, because I talk to people, they're like, so why jiu-jitsu? Why did you do this? I said, because I can go get my ass kicked by somebody, and there's no ego there. And then that kid will walk out to a 93 Corolla and go back to a one-bedroom apartment, and I got to look at myself and go, okay, why am I doing all of this stuff? It doesn't matter. And you're right. You have built a fantastic place where it doesn't, none of that matters. We're here to get better. We're here to have the discipline. We're here to show up. We're here to suffer together. I coined David Goggins to find the dark places in my mind and fight through it. And and I think I don't know who's who, but it doesn't matter.
And I think people that are attracted to combat sports, we're probably all wounded somehow. Like, we're all fighting something, or we all want something, or there's something missing usually, because it's rare that a person says, well, when I grow up, I'd like to get cauliflower ear, a bad neck, a bad back, arthritis in my fingers, and that's what I'd like to do. And get choked out regularly by guys who weigh twice as much as me. That's what I want to do. Like, nobody's really doing that. But I did. I was doing it. Like, if you'd have asked me, again, harkening back to my dad, you know, my dad, people be like, what's your son going to do? He's going to be a world champion. Oh, yeah, right. Like this. And then he'd say, no, that's what he's telling you. He goes, and they would ask me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a world champion. Like, it was always in my mind that that's the thing I want to do. But then, you know, if you asked all of my classmates, they'd think I was fucking crazy. And I've already taken too many shots.
What are you doing?
Yeah, like, I mean, I was probably the outlier there. I mean, sure, there's guys that are like, yeah, I want to, from the age of whatever, I want to be a Navy SEAL. And everyone's like, well, why would you do that? because that's what I want to be. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's some people that know exactly what they're put on the planet to do, and I felt that way. But like you, like most people, I had to get to that point via some cul-de-sacs and
Yep.
tributaries and everything
Absolutely.
else, and paper routes and doing construction and physical therapy and all that until I could do this full time. But yeah, it still blows me away though.
I will say this is probably, of all the places that I've been and trained at, which isn't a bunch, but it's a few, this is probably, they're all welcoming, but this is probably the most even playing field. Like everybody has an ego, but there is no ego beyond, hey, look what I have. It's, here are the skills I possess. We're all here to get better. Yes, some may have more skills than others, and some may be better or more physically gifted than others, but there's no look at what I am and you have to respect me because of what that doesn't exist here, and it's phenomenal.
I think some of the ingredients are, and if you look at really anything, maybe not anything, but a lot of the things that are almost like cult-like, have a cult-like following, CrossFit or, Navy SEALs, they absolutely love what we do. There's kind of two common ingredients that I recognize: struggle, physical struggle, and community. And I think if you can combine those two things, as a community, you're all trying to struggle together to get better. Like, that's a really important ingredient to the thing. So I think we have both of these here. When I came, we were talking when we did our interview with Houston, like, I saw that Houston Alexander trained here, and I'm like, I want to go train with Houston Alexander. And just the fact that I could potentially do that just blew my mind. So I was so intimidated to come in, walked in, and it was like, hey, yeah, let's do this. And, I was working out, and then I had no plan on really doing martial arts. I just came here for the workout, but everybody was just so inviting, like, hey, come in and you get on the mats and do jiu-jitsu, do Muay Thai. And no idea. I had no plans on training jiu-jitsu when I came in here. I had no idea other than seeing it in the UFC and having a vague idea of what it was.
Yeah.
No plans on it. And then completely took over. So kind of transitioning into that. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you've been training now, what, 2 years? Going on 2 years?
I've been training for, not that I'm keeping track, 17 months.
Okay. So what was it that led you to come into these doors? What was it that led you to do this crazy thing that we all do?
So just leading up, there's always been years of discipline. I ended up moving with the job. I ended up being all over, and I'd always been big, fat, undisciplined when it came to physical fitness, because work was my life, and that was everything. So when I was on the East Coast, I had the ability to move to the East Coast with my job. I got into guns and firearms, and that was really, really fun. So I learned how to shoot. I got very, very proficient at that. And what led me to jiu-jitsu was stuff that I would look at. They would almost make fun of the gun guys. And I was like, well, no, I'm a gun guy. Don't you know you need to respect me because I have a gun? They're like, what happens the moment they take away the gun? It's like, well, I just don't take away my gun. So that was the preemptive moment of, hey, you probably need something else other than just having a gun. And somebody, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like, hey, can you run? Can you fight? Can you protect your family in a way that doesn't require you to take somebody else's life? And my answer to all three of those was no. Well, maybe I should try and figure it out. So that was like the preemptive to let's find something that I can do. So CrossFit was an idea. Like, yeah, I could go run and I could do this and I could be the best at exercise. I apologize for anybody who does CrossFit. I could try and do kickboxing. Well, I've kickboxed before. I was good at it. The bags are really hard. They really hurt. I want something I can be proud of. Well, maybe try jiu-jitsu. And I am a member at 88. And they offered this BJJ program. It's like, that sounds kind of cool. I can tell everybody that I do jiu-jitsu. And there's a lot of ego. There still is a lot of ego in me. There was even more ego in me before. And it was, I'm going to be able to tell everybody that I do a martial art. And sure enough, after like the first month, I went to a work meeting in Dallas. It's like, hey guys, I don't know if you know or not, you don't want to mess with me. I know jujitsu.
I am the danger.
I am the danger here, everybody. And they're like, oh, okay, Austin. Yeah, you look like it too. But that's what led me into it. It was strictly, I can learn how to do something really, really cool. And when I do something, I go 10 fingers, 10 toes, all in. And I've had a couple guys tell me, they're like, hey, we didn't think you were going to last. Like you were all gung-ho about this. Some reason you still are all gung-ho about this, but we didn't think you were going to, we were pretty sure you're going to burn out. And it hurt. Like it really, really hurt. And this was I will never quit. I want to do something hard. The first months, several classes where I would walk out of there feeling like I was going to go throw up. A couple of them I did go throw up. I couldn't drive home straight. Like vision was blurry. I called my wife and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I think I can make it. I'm going to fight through it. I've been through worse. I'm going to get there. And I get home and there would be bruises everywhere. I would be in pain.
The finger bruises?
Yes, everywhere. I'd be in pain. She's like, why? I'm like, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She's like, really?
Doesn't sound like fun.
No, she's like, it doesn't sound like fun. And I got to give a shout out to Ephraim. He was one of the guys in the first month or two, and it's normal Ephraim infectiousness where he's just a lot of fun to be around. And maybe it's because I was the biggest guy at the class. He's like, hey, buddy, you and me, let's roll. He didn't even know my name. And we would roll, and we'd get done, and he would submit me immediately. But he'd be like, hey, guys, Scott, this guy's a killer over here. Let's roll again.
Yeah.
We do this over and over, and he would submit me every single time. He still submits me every single time. But we would roll, and he'd be like, hey, this guy, he's a killer. Like, you really think so? Okay, I'm gonna to the point where I'd get mad, like, oh, I can beat him. No, I can't. And then that kind of opened up this door of, oh gosh, there's so much more knowledge here. This isn't just learning something cool. This is a discipline. This is a lifelong effort. This is something I can really put my effort towards and grow myself. So now it's, yes, I get to do cool moves, but it's so much more than that. I get to hang out with some incredible, incredible guys and gals who are all bettering themselves. I get to display some discipline, not just for myself, but I get to do it for and with my kids.
Yeah, no, the kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And we get to do that together. And that's probably, I talk to different groups of guys, some individually, some in groups, but I get to do it with them. And that is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And we get to go through some really hard stuff. I get to think, I'm getting goosebumps from it. This was hard for my youngest, Everett. He was 8, and we had a seminar in April. And he started jiu-jitsu in August of last year, decided after about a month it wasn't for him. And then in February, decided to come back into it. He's like, I want to do it. I'm gonna do it. And we talked, you got to be committed and all of this stuff. So it was a good character talk. He said, yep, Dad, Mom, this is for me. I want to do it, even though it's hard. We made a deal with him. We said, okay, you can quit, but if you do, you have to go see Mr. Mark and Mr. Scott, and you have to tell them yourself. He's like, okay, I'll do it. I said, you can quit if you want, but you have to. He said, nope, I'm not going to quit. This is what I want to do. So he trained for a couple months, and then we came to the seminar, and all the kids lined up on the wall. And he asked me before we got to the seminar, he said, hey, Dad, do you think I'll get a stripe? I don't know, buddy. I don't know. You haven't been doing this very, very long. So he watched his oldest sister, Audrey. She got her first stripe. Working down the line, several kids. Ava, his next oldest sister, got her stripe. 4 or 5 kids later. And Scott had already pulled me aside and said, hey, that's not going to happen today. But he said, okay, and we have a couple new guys in here, Everett and another person. You guys are only doing it for a couple months. You have to earn these. I'm sorry. And he Tears welled up. He fought it. He stood there, stiff upper lip, tears coming down his face, and he didn't move. He just said, "Okay, yes, sir." Posed for the picture. And then the moment he broke out of line, the floodgates opened. Mm-hmm. Just, and not, why didn't I get it? It just hurt. Mm-hmm. But we got to go, hey man, let's talk about this. Why this is something you earn. This isn't just something that's given. Mm-hmm. You really have to do the work in order to get this. And he understood it. And we said, okay, let's see what happens. This was on a Saturday, and obviously this was a 2-day seminar in April. So Sunday came around. I said, all right, guys, it's 9 a.m. Let's go. I said, Everett, you good? He said, yep, let's go. Let's go learn. And he showed back up.
Yeah.
And he has shown back up every single time since then. And I'm going to brag on him. He's gotten really, really good. Yeah. He is submitting a lot of people. And I hope he gets promotion. He's talking about it quite a bit. He's like, it's coming in October. Right, Dad? I was like, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. He's like, I feel like I've done a lot of work. I said, you have, buddy. Yeah. You really have. I said, it's about the work. You got to show up. You got to do it. He said, yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. But that's really what this has meant. Mm-hmm. It's the work. It's the discipline. It's getting the ability to do it with my girls, with Everett. I have 4 kids. My oldest boy decided he tried jujitsu. He just decided it wasn't for him. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely okay. And that was a really tough dad moment too. Really, really tough.
How much weight have you lost since you started?
I got a haircut, and then it just looks. No, when I started this in April of 22, I weighed about 295, 298 pounds. Currently, I weigh about 234.
Oh.
Nice.
So you might not be able to tell on the cameras, but Austin's quite tall. What, 6'6"?
6'6".
So
6'6".
He could carry 295 and not look,
Oh no, I was big.
I was checking you out the other day in the computer system, and
in a nice way.
Yes, no, I was charging
his profile picture?
Yeah, his profile
still
picture.
The beginning one.
It's still the beginning.
Is it really?
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, holy cow!
Oh God.
When it happens slowly over time, you forget what it used to be like. But so what are your goals moving forward for jiu-jitsu, for work? Like, have you reached the pinnacle of your career and you're just going to ride it out? Is there other places you want to go?
Oh no. So with the career, I had the opportunity to move to the East Coast and be all over the place. Then we moved back to Nebraska after 3 stops on the East Coast. We are in Nebraska. I want to grow within my company. I want to help grow the company. We have a lot of stuff going on in terms of technology in the dealership space. The industry's changing in terms of how we communicate with customers, how a dealership works with the factory, meaning people who provide the cars, how they communicate with their customers, and there's a lot of consolidation. Unfortunately, I believe gone are the days of a single store mom and pop dealership that sells 20 to 40 cars a month. That's just really, really hard to compete. So the bigger family-owned dealerships are growing. The auto group that I worked with on the East Coast, when I was out there in Philadelphia, they had 17 stores. When I was there, they grew to 27. As of this summer, I believe they're now at 48.
Wow. Jeez.
And that's just kind of the trend in the industry.
Yeah.
The smaller mom and pops are getting consolidated with the larger ones. And my job is going to be there to help really those family-owned dealerships grow, consolidate, become bigger and better. And I plan on being in this industry for a long time. I love the car business. I love working with people. I like watching them grow, whether it's the dealer, him or herself, and what it is they get to do and how they get to grow their business and design their culture inside of every store, whether it's people inside the store and watching them work their own career path. Inside my company, technology is a big piece, and I love technology. So how can we help a customer have a better experience through a dealership, through our technology? So that's
awesome.
That's what I get to help grow. Jiu-jitsu wise, I just hope to keep on doing it.
You just won your first tournament too, right?
I did just win my first tournament.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did. It was the larger, inexperienced old man division, but
Fight's a fight.
fight's a fight.
Yeah.
And I fought a couple of them, and I did well. I was able to walk away with some gold-colored hardware, and it was an absolute blast. Absolute blast. The high of that absolutely lasted all day.
Nice.
And, one of my goals that I wrote down this year was I wrote, I want my wife to be proud of me, which I know it seems like a really ambiguous goal, but I write them in statements.
But those of us who are married know how difficult that can be.
Yeah.
It absolutely can be. I want my wife to be proud of me. And that broke down into deeds, that broke down into relationship, that broke down into physically how I look. At the end of that, she certainly didn't remember that I wrote that. I shared that with her. We got home and she said, "Hey, I'm really proud of you. You put in a lot of hard work." I was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That really meant a lot.
Oh.
So, but that's a culmination of a lot of hard work and discipline that leads to a lot of big things. I'm learning that all of this hard work and discipline is leading me somewhere. I don't know. I have things that I want to do, but I can't be hung up on what those things are. I kind of need to experience life as it comes at me with the experiences that I have in the tank. I believe everything happens for a reason, and you just need to be ready for it. So I need to be disciplined. I need to have the tools. I need to have the mental toughness in order to take on whatever it is. And it's very intriguing as you go through life, as you read, as you grow, as you do all of these things. Life opportunities present themselves kind of at that moment. An easy example is I was working with a colleague at work, and I was reading the Bible, and I was reading through the book of Job, and how hard Job had it, how everything was taken from him, and how it was just tough, and he was still fighting and giving glory to God. I was like, okay, I don't know why I'm reading this, but we'll fight through it. And I had a colleague come to me and said, "Hey, Austin, I need to talk to you." Okay, let's talk. He said, "Austin, I'm about to lose everything." He said, "My wife's going to leave me. She's going to take my kids. She's going to take half my money. I have to give back the car. I don't know if I'm going to keep my job. How do I get through this?" It's like, holy crud. I just read about this, and now I have somebody talking to me about this. Well, let's go talk about it. My job is to be a mentor. Let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Let me share with you what it is that I've read. Certainly, I'm not going to be able to answer it for you, but I'm here for you. I want to help you grow. Long story, very, very short. We were able to save his marriage. And not because he was able to keep all his stuff, but because he was able to build his relationship with his wife and his family and build into something far better than it's ever been. And now he's at the point where it's like, "Austin, yeah, I got to keep all my stuff, but it doesn't matter." And I didn't realize that back then, but it doesn't matter. And that's kind of the base of jiu-jitsu. Stuff doesn't matter. It's the discipline. It's the loss of ego. It's the ability to show up and do the work when it matters the most, no matter what it is you're going through. Show up, do the work, and you're going to have a team of men and women to do it with you. And I think that's the true power of jiu-jitsu.
Awesome.
That is true.
Well, good words to end on, but we may cut this out. Silly question, just curious. What's the dream car, or what's the dream 2 or 3 cars? You make your millions. What are you putting in the garage?
Like dream, like, oh my God, money's no object, dream car.
Both. One an attainable one you see yourself buying someday, and the one that's probably outside of your reach.
So my dream car when I was growing up is the one that I'm driving now.
Okay.
Which is a M5 Competition by BMW. It's a great car. It fits all the kids. And I know we talk about stuff, and it really doesn't matter. But I can tell you every time I hop in that car, I sit down and it puts a smile on my face when I turn it on. And if I really just want to go get the goosebumps, that car will do it.
Yeah.
It will. I define a fun car as one that will try and kill you, and that car will try and kill you, which is great. So the car with no kids in the house that I believe is attainable is a 911 GT3 RS,
Okay.
or even a GT2. Just
The Widowmaker.
yes, just an absolute yes, a car that will kill you. Absolute demon of a car that is hard to drive, beats the crud out of you, and it's all the fun.
Yeah.
Now the car that is like uber out there, it would be a Koenigsegg Agera.
I have no idea what that is.
It is a Swedish car. They source, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, and I'm going to get corrected on. I believe they source their engines from AMG, so Mercedes,
Okay.
V8s or V12s, and they are just absolute insanity. That's the pinnacle true hypercar.
Wow.
I believe that that holds a land speed record for near 300 miles an hour. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
I'm actually going to a car event tonight.
Oh, yeah?
Are you?
Yeah.
Where at?
You know Peter Fink?
Is that yes?
His private car collection?
In the Kmart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to, there's an event there tonight, and he's opening it up.
He has quite the collection.
That's what I hear.
Have you never been?
No, I've
my God.
seen pictures online. This guy quietly has probably the most incredible muscle car collection
You're in
maybe
for
in the country.
You're in for a treat.
here in Omaha. Yeah.
You're in for a
so I'm
treat.
going to go see that stuff tonight.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really something special.
I'll take pictures.
Please do. I might want to see them on Friday.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. Some really good stuff that I honestly think is really going to help some people. So
Yeah.
thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being a part of the gym. Thanks for training with me. And one of the, I just did this little interview thing for a newsletter. And one of the things they asked me is, do you have any mentors? And I said, my dad, number one, Mick, number two. But I said, honestly, anybody that I train with, because people who are willing to put themselves through this level of struggle, to volunteer themselves for this level of struggle, I have to have respect for them. And then especially when it's people that come in here that they don't have to be doing this. Some people have to fight to survive. You're doing pretty well for yourself. You don't need this, but you find it enriching, and you're willing to submit yourself to that struggle, potential injury, all that work. I just love being able to learn from guys like you, and you're a white belt, but I still look up to you. So
As he's choking you.
yeah.
Yes.
I really respect you.
Hey, dude, I really appreciate who it is you are.
Yeah.
Stop breathing.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and love you have back in someday.
Yeah.
We'll have some more conversations, I'm sure. So
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you so much.
Thanks.
All right.